Okay, we're here. It's about a mile to the south of where we just were. This is U.S. Forest Service public land, and this belongs to all of us, not just the logging companies. This area is recovering from past logging. It's recovering quite well. Lots of new trees coming up, beautiful colors. This is late October that we're here. And, the U.S. Forest Service would call this area overly dense. And they claim that their thinning activities restore the forest to a desired condition. And they use a study by Malcolm North to justify coming in and logging these kinds of areas. Now, North's study, which was also cited in the recent opinion piece by the Plumas Sun, Unburned, which we have a rebuttal to on our website. Malcolm North's study was analyzed very carefully by Chad Hansen and others, and what they discovered was that the data record was not fully and properly investigated, and that the actual historical natural density of the Sierra Nevada was about 200 trees per acre, plus or minus. Obviously, density is variable, but in other words, the historical density is about the same as it is today, according to the new analysis. And the U.S. Forest Service leans heavily on this Malcolm North study. But you can see healthy shrubs here, manzanita and fir trees, cedar trees, pine trees. And this area is really recovering from, this is the second growth. So this is part of the community protection project, the so-called community protection project, what we're calling the community destruction project. This plan calls for 77% canopy reduction. This area would look like basically the area that we just were if they are allowed to proceed. All small trees, shrubs, many of the larger trees, whatever they consider to be a quote-unquote hazard tree would be removed. The soil would be damaged. But they would basically send teams with poison herbicides to kill off all the shrubs, including native shrubs that are important food sources, including for bears. The bears come and eat the manzanita berries in the fall. This is really important food source. You see bear scat is full of manzanita berries. And, what would the bears do if they took out all the shrubs here, including manzanita? It's a nice rainy day here, some unexpected rain. But the bears would likely come into nearby communities, even more than they already do, and eat garbage, and it would further pull them away from their natural habitat. So, basically anything that's not marketable, they want to turn this wild area, which is fairly pristine, into a tree farm, kill anything that quote-unquote competes with the trees, and they're scheduled to begin most likely next year in 2026. They say they're going to ramp up significantly in 2026. Some big trees here. So we can expect, based on the past operations, other quote-unquote community protection projects, that an army of masticators, feller bunchers, men with pesticide sprayers will descend on this area, and basically it'll look a lot like the area just to the north of this, where we just filmed. Unless, of course, our lawsuit is successful in requiring them to take a hard look at these impacts, which they have not done. They've their plan, called the Community Protection Project, is they claim that information on how best to protect communities is not within the scope of the Community Protection Project. I mean, it's like almost Orwellian. How much more doublethink can you get than that? They're basically running scared from our legitimate science-based arguments. This is really an emergency situation. This is a beautiful area. Look at those aspens. Just beautiful. I'm just gonna seek some shelter under this tree so you can see this. The autumn in Plumas County is a really beautiful time. This is a really special place. This is where the bears hang out, the wild animals. But yeah, this is an emergency situation. We need to mobilize to protect the wild, to protect our climate, and to defend the habitat of wild animals. It's not just humans who live on this planet. Our family is extensive. Plants and animals are our family. And if we continue to abuse them, it's gonna end up hurting us very badly in the long run. And I just wonder, with these two examples of places, and this is not an impoverished place, this is a rich place, a hugely rich place. These aspens turning. How can environmental organizations, including local ones like Friends of Plumas Wilderness, quote, I put friends in quote, they wrote to the Forest Service supporting this project, turning this into a thinned, impoverished landscape. And I just don't understand why. I've been trying to understand it. And as a psychology student, and I got my undergrad in psychology, I've got to think that it's some sort of mass delusion combined with social pressures and the loss of potential funding. There are these little streams through here that they're not running right now, but they will be when we get some more rain. And I just can't even imagine how anyone who calls themselves an environmentalist can support sending masticators and feller bunchers and just uncontrolled logging into this area that is so beautiful and so pristine and so full of wildlife. But yet that's what they're planning to do next year. So hey folks, really appreciate you watching. Sign up for the Feather River Action List so to keep up to date on events. And come out and join us. Come support what we're doing. We need support. We need people to speak out. And those who have drunk the Kool-Aid and believe that this is what we should do, that we should come in and send big equipment into an area like this, and that this will somehow protect our communities, they're just wrong. You're just wrong. I'm sorry. The fire, if we have a dry year and we have winds and there's ignition, fire will burn through this, no question. It'll burn through the thinned area, but it'll burn through this kind of dense area far slower than it would a thinned area. So people living nearby, would have more time to evacuate. So that's the reality. Unfortunately, I've tried to reach out to these environmental groups like Feather River Land Trust and Friends of Plumas Wilderness. When I went to make a brief announcement at one of the Friends of Plumas Wilderness events, they actually called the police on me. They are so scared of this message and so scared of being revealed as supporters of mass industrial logging that they actually called law enforcement to remove me from what was essentially a public parking lot. Anyway, I'll post video of that encounter when I get a chance. But in the meantime, get out there, enjoy these forests, take pictures, document them, all around Portola to Quincy. They plan to really destroy these areas. So get out there and enjoy them and document them and help us defend them. Thank you.